he's probably just quicker on the draw than Jesse James. It's my old mate, Geoff Parker. He's out there. Good evening.
Oh, yeah, mate. I've never heard Cher described as the incredible.
Oh, come on,
plastic
you
lady.
see her. She's like a Cindy doll. Well, you know, she looks a lot better, obviously. But...
She daren't stand near an open fire on Christmas Day.
This is right. Geoff, take it away.
Okay, John, right. So here we go with our little Sunday night rock and roll segment. Amazingly, and it is amazing, the last man standing, sadly, but he is the last man standing of rock and roll, really. The great Jerry Lee Lewis is going to be 85 tomorrow. Still alive and well, and still occasionally comes out to play. Incredible. Here's a track which gave him a big hit in the country charts, although it's no way a country record, it's great rock and roll, in 1979. And it sort of sums up him and his whole life, and he puts his name in the song as well. Jerry Lee Lewis, Rockin' My Life Away.
1925 and 1998, I threw a rock and roll party on my last birthday, but it's good. I'm rocking my life away. I've been moving and I'm grooving and I'm getting broke night and day. I got a gal called Nellie, she's a chili pepper hot. She knows how to roll, a killer knows how to rock, and I'm rocking my life away. I've been rocking and I'm rolling and I'm moving both night and day. Well, the streamline, fleet line, a military brat, she knows the gentle daughter, but the killer top brass. I'm rocking my life away. I've been moving and getting it both night and day. Watch me now. Come on, baby, you know what I mean. I like the way you shake that thing, 'cause I'm rocking my life away. I've been getting it, and doing it both night and day. Get it, James. Rocker boy, you don't know what you love, 'cause I'm a mammy jamming mother, I've been getting it moving, hold on, I'm rocking my life away. I like to rock and roll, and I'm darn sure here to stay. Look out now. Rock and roll, rock and roll, rock. Whoa, rock and roll, rock and roll. Come on. I gotta have one more time. Yeah.
Fantastic. I love the line in there. My name is Jerry Lee Lewis and I'm darn sure here to stay. And he is 85 tomorrow. Rocking my life away. Such a great track. And that's all you ever wanted to do, play piano like that. On a par with anything he recorded, I think, in his illustrious career. Happy birthday, Jerry Lee. Hope you have a great day tomorrow. Sadly, someone who would have been 82 on Saturday and died while he was on tour in Britain in 1960, the great Eddie Cochran, multi-talented musician, writer, drummer, vocalist, guitarist extraordinaire, and bass player. He could do the lot. And he was just 21 years old, and he's forever enshrined. That's how we'll all ever remember Eddie. He never gets old because he sadly was taken so young. So this is a great track. It was from his last ever recording session in America before he came to Britain on that tour in 1960. And it went to number 1 in the wake of his death in the UK, backed up by 2 members of the Crickets, Jerry Allison on drums, Sonny Curtis on second guitar. Here's Eddie Cochran with 3 Steps to Heaven.
Now there are 3 steps to heaven. Just listen and you will plainly see. And as life travels on and things do go wrong, just follow steps 1, 2, and 3. Step 1, you find a girl you love. Step 2, she falls in love with you. Step 3, you kiss and hold her tightly. Yeah, that sure seems like heaven to me. For heaven's very simple. Just follow the rules and you will see. And as life travels on and things do go wrong, just follow steps 1, 2, and 3. Step 1, you find a girl you love. Step 2, she falls in love with you. Step 3, you kiss and hold her tightly. Yeah, that sure seems like heaven to me. Just follow steps 1, 2, and 3.
Eddie Cochran, 3 Steps to Heaven, Eddie Cochran and the Crickets. And when we just have those pictures of that amazing, young, handsome guy, James Dean with the guitar, as he was once described, it's hard to contemplate the fact he would have been 82 this week, next Saturday to be precise. And just such a great song, and what a player. And you can't overstate the impact that he had as a player when he came to Britain in 1960. All the guitarists and all the guys he worked with at the time, like Marty Wilde and Joe Brown particularly, and the others, they were just in awe of what Eddie could do. Right, the rest of our little segment tonight, the next 4 tracks, all feature the drumming of a guy called W.S. Holland. He sadly passed away just earlier on this week. Not a household name, but in the world of rock and roll, a very, very important figure. He started out playing with no less a person than the great Carl Perkins, recorded at Sun Records, and he was there for some very, very important recording sessions. So I'll tell you about the 4 that are coming up as we go through them. But let's start with this one. He'd only just learnt to play drums a matter of weeks beforehand when this was recorded in 1956. An absolute classic to this very day in that amazing little studio in Memphis, Tennessee. W.S. Holland on drums, Carl Perkins, Blue Suede Shoes.
Well, it's 1 for the money, 2 for the show, 3 to get ready. Now go, cat, go, but don't you step on my blue suede shoes. You can do anything but lay off of my blue suede shoes. Well, you can knock me down, step in my face, slander my name all over the place, and do anything that you wanna do. But honey, lay off of my shoes, don't you step on my blue suede shoes. You can do anything but lay off of my blue suede shoes. Oh, let's go, cat. You can burn my house, steal my car, you drank my liquor from my old fruit job and do anything that you wanna do. But honey, lay off of them shoes and don't you step on my blue suede shoes. You can do anything but lay off of my blue suede shoes. Rock! For the money, 2 for the show, 3 to get ready. Now go, cat, go, but don't you step on my blue suede shoe. You can do anything but lay off of my blue suede shoe. But it's blue suede shoe, blue suede shoe, yeah, blue suede shoe, baby, blue suede shoe. You can do anything but lay off of my blue suede shoe.
Absolute iconic rock and roll classic, Carl Perkins' Blue Suede Shoes, the Sun Studio, Memphis, Tennessee, 1956, with the recently departed W.S. Holland on drums. Such an amazing track. He was also present on this next, well, it wasn't a proper session, it was a jam session that came about off the back of a proper Carl Perkins session just before Christmas 1956. Carl and his band were in Sun, doing a regular session, recording a song called Matchbox, actually. But that's not part of the story. Jerry Lee Lewis, who at that time wasn't known outside of Memphis, was playing piano for him. Johnny Cash was around. And then Elvis, who'd recently left Sun Records and by that time was a massive, massive star on RCA. Heartbreak Hotel had been out and he'd had loads of other hits. He turned up, went back to his old studio, and it all sort of then, the proper session fell apart and a jam session started up. It was recorded and WS was on drums. It became known as the $1 Million Quartet, because if you think the 4 of them were in there, and they had just had fun mucking around on tracks. Never ever released at the time. In fact, it was some 40 years before the tracks were ever officially released, and RCA would have gone potty had they had any chance of somebody releasing this one, because it was a song Elvis had already recorded for them, and he was debarred from recording for anybody else, let alone going to his old label. So this is the $1 Million Quartet with W.S. Holland on drums, Carl Perkins definitely, and Jerry Lee Lewis on piano, and Elvis doing his song Paralyzed.
When you looked into my eyes, slower, you know. Well, I stood there like I was hypnotized. Well, you sent up a feeling to my spine, a feeling warm and smooth and fine. All I could do was stand there paralyzed. He said, well, oh, now, lucky me, I'm singing every day. Ooh, well, ever since the day you came my way. Ooh, well, you made my life for me just one big happy game. I'm gay every morning. At night I'm still the same. Well, do you remember that wonderful time? And you held my hand and swore that you to be mine. Well, in front of the preacher you said I do. I couldn't say a word for thinking of you. All I could do was stand there. Well, hold out, lucky me, I'm singing every day. Ooh, ever since the day you came my way. Well, you made my life for me just one big happy game. I'm gay every morning. At night I'm still the same, honey, child, do you remember that wonderful time when you held my hand and swore that you to be mine? now that a preacher you said I do. I couldn't say a word about thinking of you. All I could do was stand paralyzed.
A truly historic session. Sun Records, 1956, the $1 Million Quartet, as they became known, but it achieved legendary, almost mythical status for years. No one had ever really heard it, but they knew it existed, and then later on the tapes were made available, and you can get it now, but just incredible. And W.S. Holland on drums. What a session you could say you were on. Just amazing. Doing Paralysed. He was at Sun Records. He was employed by Sam Phillips, label owner, playing on other people's stuff as well. He played on a whole bunch of early hits for a guy called Carl Mann, who had several hits in the USA and came to the UK. He's been over several times since the 70s onwards. And he was a great friend of W.S. and Carl Mann, who were very good friends, lived near each other in Jackson, Tennessee. And Carl Mann's still around. And here's another track that they recorded back in 1958. Now, this was a great big hit. Probably they got it from a Nat King Cole record, but they rocked it up. A great old song that they did several times. Carl Mann with W.S. on drums and Mona Lisa.
Well, Mona Lisa, man, I've named you. You're so like the lady with a mystic smile. Is it only 'cause you're lonely you haven't named you? For that Mona Lisa strangeness in your smile. Well, do you smile to tempt the lover, Mona Lisa? Or is this a way to hide a broken heart? Are you warm? Are you real, Mona Lisa? Just a cold and lonely, lovely work of art. A girl whose beauty changed her rose. Many dreams have been brought to her, but they all come down. What does she want? Nobody knows. Well, Mona Lisa, man, how named you? You're so like the lady with a mystic smile. Is it only 'cause you're lonely they haven't named you? For that Mona Lisa strangeness in your smile. Well, do you smile to tempt the lover, Mona Lisa? Or is this the way to hide a broken heart? Are you warm? Are you real, Mona Lisa? Or just a cold and lonely, lovely work of art? Just a cold and lonely, lovely work of art. Or just a cold and lonely, lovely work of art.
The great Carl Mann, who still gets out and records and plays, and Mona Lisa, big hit for him in America in 1958, with his good friend W.S. Holland on drums. Now, he was with Carl Perkins. W.S. played with Carl Perkins for a number of years, but in 1960, his great friend Johnny Cash, they all knew each other, they were all on the same label together. He asked him if he'd go and play with him for a couple of weeks, and I interviewed W.S. at his home in Jackson, Tennessee, back in 2002, when I was making a documentary of Radio 2 about 50 years of Sun Records. And one line I always remember, he said he was asked if he'd go and play for Johnny Cash for 2 weeks, and he said it lasted 40 years. He played with Johnny Cash for 40 years. And if you remember a few weeks back, I played the great version of one of the Johnny Cash songs recorded at Glastonbury when he played there in 1994. And if you go online, look at YouTube, you can see him, all the various clips of Johnny Cash with his band. And W.S. Holland is on drums, so he had 40 years playing for the Man in Black. I'll play a track from later on in Johnny Cash's career. This is from his 77th album, which was released in 1991. It's a great track, it goes like a train. It's called, the album's called The Mystery of Life, and this is Johnny Cash and Easy Rider.
I'm an easy rider. The wind is at my back. I'm an easy rider. The white line is my track. Every lane is a passing lane and the right of way is mine. Let me on that straightaway and I'll be fairly flying. I'm an easy rider. My wheels love to roll. I'm an easy rider. I ride a new road every day. I'm an easy rider. I will see you on my way. I got a number down in every town in my little black book. And they understand that I'm a traveling man, so they don't think they got to. I'm an easy rider. I love that free highway. Get them hogs off my road. You got a guitar. I'm an easy rider. Oh Lord, I love to roll. I'm an easy rider. Moving's in my soul. I know a lady down in Little Rock and I stopped for a little while. But I had to go cause another I know is waiting for my smile. I'm an easy rider. I can't stay in one place.
The great Johnny Cash with his drummer of 40 years, the late W.S. Holland, who passed away earlier this week, and Easy Rider. Great stuff. And he was a really, really nice guy. I went to his, as I said, and he had an amazing collection of memorabilia. He had one room which was like a museum. His wife has survived him, so I just hope it all stays together and eventually we'll go to a museum somewhere, a proper museum. But just to had all his original drum kit and all the rest of it. Not a household name, but somebody who should definitely be remembered. Okay, John, thank you for that.
No problem at all. The only complaint is it's not long enough. I could do another 20 minutes, but I know you've got other radio stations to entertain. Great choice as always, Geoff. And Johnny Cash, I mean, you can't go wrong with Johnny Cash, can you? I think I was listening to
just amazing.
San Quentin the other day. It was just one of those things.
What an album that was.
Brilliant.
Amazing.
Really, really good.
Yeah, he had fun when he did those prison shows, didn't he?
Oh, didn't he just, you know.
Can I just say, next week, I know there's a documentary on Radio 2 about the man. It's would have been the 80th birthday of John Lennon, and his son Sean's doing a documentary sometime over that period on Radio 2 that he's put together. But so next week on our little rock and roll bit, it will definitely reflect John Lennon's birthday.
Can we get Saltwater in there, or should I play that after? You choose yours.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
What a great one. Geoff, listen, brilliant as always. We will touch base next week, and thank you very much.
My pleasure. Have a good week and stay safe, and you at home.
You too.
BBC Radio Devon.
It is BBC Radio Devon. Geoff Barker's here. Geoff Barker set us a little quiz question before we came to Geoff Barker's Rock and Roll Part 2 about Alvin Stardust, wasn't it, Geoff?
It certainly was. It was... Who was he before he was Alvin Stardust? And I've got to say straight away, you had some people texting in and contacting you. So hi to Costa Rob in Plymouth, David in Dulwich, Muddy also in Plymouth, and Geoff in Whitley. They all knew who it was. He was sadly no longer around, but he was born this day in 1942. His previous alter ego was Shane Fenton.
Ah, yes. Not my Cuckoo, which is what I would have said.
No. Oh, I see what you mean. No. And here he is with his great band, the Fentones. And I'll say hi to someone else as well. One of my favourite British guitarists from that era, Jerry Wilcock, who played lead guitar with the Fentones. And he's listening in Paignton tonight. So, Jerry, love this track. Shane Fenton, the Fentones with Jerry on guitar, and Why Little Girl.
It's happened before and it'll happen again. I don't know where and I don't know when. All I know is how it's gonna be. I'll be a fool, that's clear to see. Why don't you think about me? Why, little girl? I'm gonna love you all I can. They can't blame me, I'm only a man, such a fool. I'm a fool in love. A Cupid came by and gave me the shove. Why don't you think about love? Why, little girl? Must you always play around? Or won't you ever settle down? You're treating me bad. I'm sad, I miss that love I should have had. It's happened before and it'll happen again. I don't know where and I don't know when. I'm lost, I don't know what to do. I can't help thinking of me with you. Why must you make me so blue? Why, little girl? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Must you always play around? Or won't you ever settle down? You're treating me bad. I'm sad, I miss that love I should have had. It's happened before and it'll happen again. I don't know where and I don't know when. I'm lost, I don't know what to do. I can't help thinking of me with you. Why must you make me so blue? Why, little girl? Why, little girl? Why, little girl?
Love the way he bent that at the end of it. Shane Fenton and the Fentones and Why Little Girl. Shane Fenton, previously his real name was Bernard Jury, but born this day 1942. And Jerry in Paynton, who played guitar on it. Why was that only tucked away on the B-side of a song called It's All Over Now? Not the Stones song. That would have made a great single A-side on its own, I think. Love that track and I love that band. Right, on to a real amazing musician, multi-talented guy from America, one of the legends, Eddie Cochran. Did everything, this guy, vocalist, writer, amazing guitarist, drummer, played bass. Hard to imagine, really, when it's always the same with people who die young. They're enshrined in your memory forever as they looked, like Buddy Holly, particularly Eddie Cochran, just a young, good-looking guy. James Dean with the guitar. Hard to imagine him being 82 years old, but he would have been had he survived until next Saturday. He died in a car crash in Chippenham whilst he was on tour in the UK in 1960. And this great song is actually a song that was a key part of bringing the Beatles together in the formation of the Beatles. It was from 1957. I'll tell you why after we've played it. Eddie Cochran and 20 Flight Rock.
Ooh, well, I gotta get with a record machine. When it comes to rockin', she's a queen. We love to dance on a Saturday night, all alone where I can hold her tight. But she lives on the 20th floor of town. The elevator's broken down, so I walk 1, 2, 5, 3, 5, 4, 5, 6, 7, flight, 8 flight more. Up on the 12th, I'm starting to drag. 15 before I'm ready to sag. Get to the top, I'm too tired to rock. Well, she calling me up on the telephone. She come on over, honey, I'm all alone. I said, baby, you're mighty sweet, but I'm in bed with a aching feet. This went on for a couple of days, but I couldn't stay away. So I walked 1, 2, flight, 3, flight, 4, 5, 6, 7, flight, 8 flight more. Up on the 12th, I'm ready to drag. 15th before I'm starting to sag. Get to the top, I'm too tired to rock. Well, I sent to Chicago for repairs. Till it's a fixed, I'm using the stairs. Hope to hurry before it's too late. Oh, my baby, too much to wait. All this climbing is getting me down. To find my corpse draped over a rail. But I climb 1, 2, flight, 3, flight, 4, 5, 6, 7, flight, 8, flight more. Up on the 12th, I'm ready to drag. Well, the 15th floor, I'm starting to sag. Get to the top, I'm too tired to rock.
Fantastic bit of rockabilly. He co-wrote that. Eddie Cochran and 20 Flight Rock. Appeared in the greatest rock and roll movie there ever was. There were some real dud ones around, but this was a goodie. It was called The Girl Can't Help It. Eddie was in it with Gene Vincent and Little Richard and Fats Domino and a host of great names. And how did it have a part in bringing the Beatles together? Well, Paul McCartney saw the movie in Liverpool in 1957. And later that year, he went to a church fete in Walton, just a part of a suburb of Liverpool, and a band was playing there, a skiffle group called the Quarrymen, led by a guy called John Lennon. They had a mutual friend, and after the gig, after the set that they'd done at the church fete, his mutual friend introduced Paul to John, and they got chatting, and I guess, what songs do you know and everything else. The key was Paul not only knew the chords to 20 Flight Rock, he also knew all the words, which so impressed John Lennon. About a week later, his Paul's mutual friend, came up and said, "Oh, Lennon wants you to join his band." And that's how, and Paul said it in an interview I did with him in 1999, he said, there I was on the road to fame. So that song and Eddie Cochran brought the Beatles together. Amazing. Thank you, Eddie. Okay, Richard, that's it. Thank you very much. Next week, before I forget, remembering the 80th anniversary of the birth of John Lennon.
Yes, of course.
Which is another sort of
80th birthday
ponder,
of John,
isn't it?
and almost the 40th anniversary of his passing, of course. We were just chatting as well about Shaky, weren't we, whilst
Yes.
the records were playing. And I must send you, just as we talk on the radio, as if nobody's listening, I must send you, there's a previously unreleased song from Shaky, a gospel song called I Need You Now, which is just been put out there because he's doing a greatest hits collection at the end of this year. So
Right.
Shaky coming out just in time for Christmas. Just what you want.
That's interesting. Maybe I'll get another Christmas #1. He's had one before.
Perhaps we might. And we'll no doubt talk about that a little bit more in future episodes. Geoff, lovely to hear from you.
Yeah, you too. I'll just quickly say a big thank you to people who texted in on our little teaser. I'm doing that every week, not simply to get people to text in. It wasn't the idea, but that was very kind to take part like that. I do appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening.
And we'll have another teaser next weekend here on the BBC when Geoff Barker's Rock and Roll returns.